Hello, welcome to JavaScript tutorial, chapter 14, part 9, JavaScript data types object, brought to you by Ankpro Technologies. My name is Harish. In this session, we are going to learn about the key points of object in JavaScript. In the last two sessions, we learned like what is object and what is the difference between object and a variable, and also we saw like how to create an object in two ways. One is using the object literal and also the object constructor. Right now we are going to understand few important points related to objects in JavaScript. So the first point is undefined property or method. So JavaScript will return undefined if you try to access properties or call methods that does not exist. For example, you can observe in this piece of code snippet present over here, like we have an object called person, but this person is not having any property called age assigned to it. Okay, but we are trying to access that property with the help of this object, so we'll get the output as undefined. Okay, let me show you a demo of it. It's very simple. What I'll do is var person is equal to new object. Okay, now let me add a property to it called age. The value is 10. Now if I try to access it, I'll get it as person dot age. Now I'll get the output as 10. Now I have to navigate to the folder where I saved this page, so I'll go there and this is the folder. When I double click on that, I'll get the output as 10. You can observe very clearly. But why I'm getting the output as 10? Because I've assigned a property called age to this object person. So if I comment out this line, now you can observe very clearly person is not having any property called age assigned to it, but I'm trying to access the value of that property called age. It's not possible, so it will return you the output as undefined. That's the meaning of that sentence. And keep in mind, if you're not sure whether an object has a particular property or not, then you are trying to access some property out of that object, then use hasOwnProperty method before accessing the properties. So how to implement that? It's very simple. Let me show you here itself. Let me remove the commented part. Then after that, what I'm trying to do is if person dot has own property, if person dot has own property, what is the property age, then alert it with this else alert telling like age property is not defined. Okay, now when I do Control S, I'll get the output as 10. Why? Because person is having a property called age. Okay, now if I comment out that this line, now I'll get the output as alert age property is not defined. Now this is what the output we expected, and that's the meaning of this sentence. Like if you're not sure whether an object is having a particular property, then make use of hasOwnProperty method before accessing it. Okay, and coming to the next slide. For example, if you want to access all the properties and methods assigned to object, how can I do that? I can do that with the help of for loop to get all the properties and methods of an object. So it's very simple. Let me go back. Here is a piece code snippet present over here. This is what I'm going to code in Visual Studio Code. It's very simple. Let me go here. Let me remove this part and let me person dot first name is equal to Ankpro. Person dot last name is equal to technologies. Then I'll define the method What is this method going to do? It's going to return the first name and last name. This dot last name. Now let me end up with semicolon. Now what I'll do is I'll try to access all the properties, first name, last name, and the method get full name of this object. How can I get that? With the help of for loop. So var keyword and a variable key, var and a variable key in person. So what I need to do is I need to get document.write the values. Okay, Control S. Now what I'll do, I'll go back and I'll refresh the page. We'll get the output as first name, last name, get full name, but they are not in correct order. They don't have space. So what I'll do is I'll push each of them to the new line. What I'll do is I'll add a break line. Okay, how do I add a break line in JavaScript? It's very simple. So when I do Control S, let me go back and let me refresh. I'll get the output in different lines: first name, last name, and get full name. These are the properties. These two are the properties, and this is a method of the object person. This is how I'll access all the properties and methods of an object with the help of for loop. That's the meaning of this sentence. Okay, coming to the next slide. You can assign another object as a property of an object. You can observe very clearly here we have an object called person. In this object we have another object. Okay, it is assigned as a property to this object. So how can I access the properties of the object called address? Because we have address present inside this person. Okay, person will look this address as an object. Suppose if I want to access the value of city, property of the address object, how can I do that? It's very simple. We have to commit from the root person. Okay, inside the person object we have a property called address, and address is object again. Using address object we can access the city object of this address. So you can observe here person.address.city. In the sense you can assign another object as a property of an object. So let me show you. It's very simple. Let me remove this. Let me do it from the first. Var person is equal to, so let me go back to presentation. Now they have used object literal way of defining an object, so let me do it in this manner only. Okay, what is the first property present or assigned to this? First name, last name. Okay, first name, it is Ankpro, and last name technologies. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach, okay, address object as a property to person object. Okay, address object as a property to person object. So what I'll do is I'll go back to presentation. This is how I've defined the properties to this address object. So now what I need to do is, should I place semicolon to that? Yes, obviously I have to do that. So don't need. So let me take some other properties, that is id is equal to 1, and city or country, it's India. Now the city, okay, city is Bangalore. Okay, now if I want to access, okay, the property of the address object, city, then how do I access? It's very simple. I have to commit from the root. I have to go to the person object. Inside the person object we have a property called address, but address itself is an object, so address is having few properties: ID, country and city. Now I want to access the value of the city property. So how can I do that? It's very simple. Alert, okay, person dot address dot city. So control S, let me go back and let me refresh. Here we'll get the output as Bangalore. You can observe very clearly. This is how you can assign another object as a property of an object, and you can access the value of the nested object address over here. Okay, this is what we learned few points about objects right now. Okay, and that's for the day. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel Ankpro Training. You can also like our Facebook page visiting these URLs. You can also follow us on Twitter. For further reference, refer our websites. We're on LinkedIn too. Last but not the least, please don't forget to give the feedback. Thank you.